We're about
We're live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the season finale of Loki Cast, where we are going to break down the season finale of the show. We're going to talk about all things Kang. We're going to talk about all things multiverse, and we're going to talk about our happiness and sadness and depression. So, up first, we do have Mr. Tony Polanco. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm just going to apologize in advance if you like this episode. Don't take anything personal that I'm going to say because I'm going to rip it apart.
Yes. And we have his son, Mr. Joey Polanco.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Wonderful. And also joining us is some action figures by the name of Carlos Romero.
Yo. Finale, finally.
Wonderful. And over in the blue screen area, we have Mr. Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
And then we have Mr. Richard Bailey Jr. joining us live from the set of A Quiet Place Part 3.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My variant has stole my camera, so I will not be on camera today.
Wonderful. So let's just kind of dive into it. You know what the format is already. Let's just start about what we liked, what we hated. Let's go with Mr. Carlos Romero.
It's interesting. I feel my expectations were subverted, although there were good points, there were bad points. Overall, I felt like this finale was okay. Nothing offended me. Mm-hmm. Nothing got me super excited. I felt like some parts dragged on way too long. I felt like the stuff that I was talking about last week about, having to conclude everything within one episode, and it kind of felt like all thrown in. I was just okay with it. I wasn't. Yeah, I think that's the best way. We'll get more into detail later, but okay, I think is my thoughts.
All right, Mr. Bruce Wayne, Dark Knight over there. Joey.
Oh, hey, I thought you were talking about Chris.
The Batman shirt.
So I am on the same boat with Carlos as well. I felt like this episode was made by someone else. I feel like the whole show had a type of flow, and this episode was just like, all right, new writer, new director. It had like a whole different feel. But yeah, I did still have complaints and some confusing parts, which I will get to later. But yeah, overall, I thought it was okay. But of course, everyone is blowing it as the biggest thing since SeaWorld. So yeah.
We know how that happened.
Jeez, that's a terrible way to say it. Rest in peace, Orca. All right, Mr. Professional Microphone. Tony.
Yeah, right. All right, I'll give this episode this credit. Like, it at least elicited emotion in me because I was still thinking about it hours later, right? But it was more like, oh my fucking God, I can't believe I wasted 6 hours of my life watching this fucking show. Like I was hoping there was a little bit like maybe the final episode would give me something to make all that happen worth it. Literally, and this is the funny part because I thought this episode was on its own was terrible, right? But this is literally the only episode you need to watch of this entire series. This is the only episode that actually mattered. But I honestly felt, and that day on Twitter, I tweeted, I'm like, the older I get, the thing I value the most in my life is my time. I feel robbed because this was just badly done on. I can't even name a single thing I like. Maybe something will pop up. That actually was. I can't name a single thing I like from this episode. This was absolutely terrible television. Like this right here, and I'm talking about this series combined even with the other series, even the ones I like with Falcon, right? Even that one had a ending. Black Widow, Phase 4 is fucking whack. Like what a waste. This is like where are we going with this? And this is the last thing I'm going to say. For you guys in here to like this episode, obviously I want you to go in depth, but my challenge is tell me what was great about this episode that doesn't involve, it sets this up. That's what I want to know because nobody was able to answer. I'm like, okay, this episode sets this up. Okay, what was so great about this episode on its own as a singular thing?
Just to clarify something, three people have gone. No one said this is great, so I'm just curious to see
Yeah.
if anyone in this panel will say it's great.
Yeah.
I'll
So let's
just-
go. So that's my take. I think I'm pretty clear in my thoughts and feelings on this
I had this
episode.
coffee this morning.
I feel like I should just tag team myself in this, and I loved the episode, and I know that you were saying what can you say aside from the future projects that we would love. I love Jonathan Majors. I think Jonathan Majors, he was the show. He was amazing. He brought so much charisma. He had so much charm, and I see a little wrinkly face right there, Polanco, of Joey. And then no, it was him. He was
Let her
superb,
finish.
and I absolutely loved what he brought to this show. And I loved how Sylvie, she was set in on her mission, and that she refused to bend or be swayed by anything. And I know we're going to get into this later, but Loki, this was the point where he actually changed from the Loki that we've seen in the 20 plus movies to finally saying, you know what, I don't need a throne. I don't need to be king of anything. I am simply here to save the universe. And as corny as that may be, that right there was like, we have something. You gave me something that you didn't give me the previous 5 episodes. And you would actually say a new Loki who wanted something different for himself and for other people. So there you go. I tagged out. Richard Bailey Jr.
Well,
Yeah,
real quick, Dana,
okay.
I got to give you props. You're the first person that actually talked about the merits of this episode by itself. So I got to give you props on that. Nobody seems to go, oh, it's going to do this, it's going to do that. All right, bro. What about the actual episode? So you're the only person that actually did it. So props to you. Go ahead, Rich.
Yay. Richard.
So, first and foremost, some excellent takes by all of you so far. But here comes a controversial opinion.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. 6 minutes into the episode.
I agree with what Dana said. Jonathan Majors steals the show. That was really the only highlight for me with this episode. And the biggest highlight is hearing after when they announced the season 2, the showrunner is not coming back for season 2.
Oh,
That was the best announcement, because clearly this whole season is a lot more slower paced. This episode, a lot of talking, and you'd already know that I love action. This is why I loved, Falcon and Winter Soldier. It wasn't too much action, and of course the Sylvie character. Now it is aligned because I didn't like the character. Now I really don't like the character because of what she did at the end of this episode. So, I would say, to quote Tony, glad that it's over, but I'm definitely glad that showrunner is not coming back for season 2.
Jesus is all of the biscuits. Yeah. So we are here with Mr. Debbie Downer. You're the last one. Make this strong. Go hard or go home.
well, I'll agree with you that the acting was good and the whole show, but other than that, this episode and this entire show fails on multiple levels of storytelling, framing, pacing, consistency, tone. Every part of it was bad. This last episode, I complained like the series didn't have enough runway. It was too short to waste time on filler and exposition and tell and don't show. And this entire finale was tell and don't show. They spent 25 minutes at Kang's desk getting an exposition dump that was like unbelievably stupid. And we were to sit through that and pay attention like you were getting a lecture on how time and space works in this world, and how the last 10 years of movies we've watched has been a manipulation by this one man to lead Loki and Sylvie to this point so that they could take his job, which I thought I was furious at the whole bashing of the Infinity Stones and Thanos and the whole arc that we have enjoyed up until Endgame, and they just used them as paperweights. Well, this topped it. This completely, like, the no free will. I knew everything that was going to happen, and I set this up so you two could be here. I'm like, that's fucking ridiculous. Like, you just wiped away. You just stood on top of the Russo brothers and Joe Johnson and all these guys who have made fantastic movies, and you pulled down your pants and you took a giant diarrhea shit over all of them. So congratulations if that was what you planned to do. But I will not watch another Marvel series. I almost canceled
Yeah.
Disney Plus after I watched this shit.
Yeah, I agree with that. Again, we'll get into it, but I'm done with these fucking Marvel shows.
I actually have a comment based on what Dana was saying, which is something I heard many people say, and this is where the confusion comes in with me, because they're like, yeah, this is the first time we see Loki learn and stuff like that from the 20 or whatever movies we've seen him in and stuff like that. But this isn't the same Loki. And
yes, Avengers 1
This
Loki.
is the Avengers 1 Loki. And this is where the issues I started having with this episode. Because even in the beginning, which is right in the beginning, we could start with that, where Miss Minutes is talking to them, and she's talking to Loki and Sylvie, like, hey, you could kill Thanos, you could wear the Infinity Gauntlet. This Loki doesn't know. He knows about Thanos. He doesn't know about his plan with the Infinity Gauntlet and stuff like that. So I'm just like, you're explaining this?
Well, to its defense, I guess it's implied that Loki, when he was with Mobius looking at the projector thing, that he was informed of all of that. That's how I took it.
Yeah, but it's very weird because it was never, again, show don't tell. It was like, yeah, this is the man that kills you in the future, which he knows Thanos, of course, because he worked with Thanos in the first Avengers. But that plan was never set yet until like Age of Ultron, where it's like, fine, I'll do it myself, and he grabs the gauntlet. And so I'm just like, wait, this Loki doesn't know about that. So it's like, hey, we're giving you like, hey, you could do this, you could do that, you could be with I was gonna say Sylvie, whatever,
Sylvie
in the same timeline. And I'm just like, this proposition you're offering, it's half empty, because he should not know anything, and he's just staring like.
Well, and another problem I had, all the talent is in front of the camera. That was another problem with this show. All the acting talent and just was on screen, right? But you don't have the caliber of writing that is necessary to tell a time travel story or a multiverse story. These people cannot keep their story and world consistent, and what they had to do was actually drag down the MCU in order to elevate their story, right? And that's a huge no-no in storytelling. If you want to tell a multiverse story, I'm not saying like, oh, I know how to write a time travel story. Time travel is difficult. Yeah. Either you dumb it down where you can have simple rules like Bill and Ted, or you tell something like Back to the Future where it's comedic and you don't really worry about the rules or consistency. Or when you're doing like a branching multiverse story, you have to have consistency. You have to say like, okay, like Joey said, this is Avengers 1 Loki. This is not Dark World Loki or Infinity War Loki, where he's learned all these lessons. He hasn't been through Ragnarok. He hasn't been through any of this stuff. Watching a film is not going to make him that guy. That guy, Thanos choked out that guy. He's dead. Yeah. So this should have been he should have been scheming. And this is a character who we watched him through 10 years of movies, is always 5 steps ahead of everyone else. He's scheming and he's always thinking. And in this show, he is just a bumbling idiot and tagging along like a lost dog behind his female counterpart.
Because he didn't get to that part yet. He's a different Loki.
No, so he should be.
Loki's already been that even before, like, the movie, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, for thousands of years, he's been a schemer, you know?
When this show started, that was peak evil Loki.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But here he was nice Loki.
Well,
I'm like,
puppy dog Loki.
Also, to come back in with the disappointments and the heat, to continue it. I think the MCU Loki that we got in Infinity War was a Loki that was redeemed to the extent that a Loki that did what he did could be redeemed, quote unquote. Like, everyone's like, oh, Loki got redeemed, and it's like, well, he already kind of had his redemption story.
Yeah.
Defending his brother and stuff with Thanos. Yeah. Obviously someone that murders people and tries to take over worlds and kills people obviously can't be redeemed in our moral sense. But as in the fact that people wanted him to redeem himself, he already did it before. So the whole point of the show was to tell us that he's, kind of a redeeming quality feature, that he's now going to be a good guy. He's trying to save the world. And it's like, Well, you kind of already tried to do that. It's like it's kind of redundant at this point.
And again, Dana, the first thing you pointed out, the actor played Kang, Jonathan Majors, you said?
Yes.
That's his name? Okay,
Yes.
again, the first thing you pointed out was what a talent he was. I agree with that, 100%. Great actor. All the talent was in front of the camera. Who directed this episode? Who cares? They suck. Who wrote it? I don't know.
Hey, Harry, the writer's been the same writer for all of the episodes.
There's like 4 of them.
Yeah, Joey. That's why I asked him when you said they're changing out the director. I'm like, okay, that's fine. What about the writers? Are they changing the writing? That's the problem. You know, the writing in the show has just not been very compelling.
It's a group of like 4.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Go ahead, Chris. I got to jump on Immortus real quick when you're done.
Oh, no, I'm done. I'm like, if these same people are going to keep writing for these OVA TV shows or whatever, I don't want to see them. I can't take it.
Yeah, but just to jump in before Tony comes in, I actually also really like Jonathan from Lovecraft Country. Great actor, but just because I see him doesn't mean like...
Yeah, it doesn't make this episode good. He's a great actor, and so is Tom Hiddleston, so is Owen Wilson, all the talent.
Wow.
What was the best part of episode 5? It was Richard Grant, right?
Yeah.
It was old Loki. Like, that's what we gravitated to. But the overall story is so weak. It doesn't stand up on its own. They didn't have a good world to build it. You had great acting and people trying to do their best with the crap they were given.
And the alligator then come back.
He should have been in the elevator. What happened?
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, I got to get on the.
Yes.
Totally. I got to talk about it more because and I don't know if I could separate my opinion of this character from the comics from the show because
just to clarify, Tony, you're talking about Kang, right?
Yeah.
Immortus and Kang are the same guy.
They're the same guy.
People don't know.
Yeah, well, they do now. You know, it was also Ramatut Saint. It's all the same dude. You know, and in some other instances, he's also Reed Richards. You know, but it's all the same guy. He who at the end of time.
He who
remains. That name. Okay, hey, I found something I like, even though that's from the comics. That name is fucking dope because you hear that name, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
How did he remain, bro? You know, and you find out why he remained. Like that. That's dope. Fucking okay. Again. I'll try to separate into 2 camps here. Just watching this as like on its there's a show on itself, no comic book relation. So you mean to tell me that the main villain of this whole thing has been some goofy, crazy person, right? Like I'm watching this guy. Everybody's like, "Oh, he's
technically a villain."
He was the antagonist. Let's just say that because he did have he's the antagonist of the whole series, right? And he's just goofy. I can't take this dude. He's jumping on top of tables. He's playing with dolls and shit. And I'm like, what? I'm not supposed to be. Am I supposed to be intimidated by this dude?
Like the Joker. You're afraid of the Joker.
I didn't get that. Joker, he is homicidal. You're like, yo, this dude is about to snap at any. You get that sense of real. Like this guy is a fucking homicidal maniac.
And that's what you can get with Jonathan Majors.
I didn't get that from him at all. I just got this as this goofy little. He was like the fucking Riddler goofy, basically. I'm like, really? I'm supposed to be scared of you, bro? You know?
Actually reminded me of the Mandalorian, the Iron Man 3 Mandalorian.
Oh my god! So it's so again. I'm watching this. I'm like, I don't feel this dude is intimidating at all. He comes off really goofy and. I know people are saying this guy's a good actor. I thought he was terrible, like because it was just so hammy. Like the performance was just so hammy, so in your face.
Well, you have issues with the direction.
Yeah, well, I mean, the director is obviously going to be like, "Yo, can you rein it down?" Obviously they could have done that, but like the actor could have done something. But then again, if that's the material he was told to do, then I can't blame him too much. But the way the portrayal was just really like over the top, and I'm used to watching over the top shit. Think about that. This is too over the top for me, So I'm like, I can't take you seriously. You're just this goofy antagonist. And then on the comic book side of it, I'm like, okay, if you're, it's obviously Immortus. He's dressed like Immortus, right? Yeah. Immortus is the version of Kang that learned that, like, you know what? Being a conqueror is not what it's about. It's about just unifying everything, right? Obviously, he says this after he's fucking conquered everything. So it's easy to say that got rid of all his enemies, but he's supposed to be more a learned guy, very wise dude and shit. Obviously, he still schemes or whatever, but he is not like flamboyant and over the top. No, I mean, maybe Rama Tut maybe is flamboyant as like one of the personas of Kang and stuff, but Kang is not supposed to be this like, look at me, you know. It's like this dude just comes off like a Doctor Who villain. I worked for Doctor Who, and don't work for this show. So I'm there 25 minutes, like Chris said, in the same fucking office, saying all this crazy, jumping up on tables, dancing, fucking playing with toys and shit. And I'm like, I'm supposed to take this dude seriously, so this shit doesn't work. Maybe this dude is a good actor in some other instances, but for this show, for me, one of the worst things of this episode was this guy.
So like the thing is like. Go ahead, Rich.
I don't know what happened.
I want to make a comment. Yeah, let's. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. I just want to say this real quick. I think that
we cannot hear you.
He's breaking up.
Let Chris grow really quickly, and then
go ahead, Chris.
Oh,
ahead,
well,
Chris.
I mean, again, this is the disconnect from the comics and the show. Like, these guys really need to study the source material to understand how to do the characterizations. I don't know who told Majors, it's like, hey, listen, play this like they're Willy Wonka visiting the chocolate factory instead of like a serious villain. Like, that's what he acted like. I expected him to take him on a tour and get in a boat and go down the Chocolate River and have an LSD trip. It's like, that's not Immortus. Immortus is eccentric, yes, but he's not like zany and like he should have pulled out a top hat at that point.
Yeah.
What's crazy was this whole episode, I really was thinking of Willy Wonka. I'm not
kidding. I mean, that's what it felt like.
I seen some similarities.
It went from Wizard of Oz to Willy Wonka very quickly.
And the other thing they changed, I know the other thing they changed from the comics is he was explaining like, hey, in multiple universes, they all learned about multiple universes at once instead of one guy going into different variations of himself. Which is,
I mean, the thing, Kang does have like multiple different millions of versions and stuff.
Yeah.
There's even a thing called the Kang War, which this was kind of referring to in a way.
And the Council of Kangs.
Yeah, exactly. So, which is interesting. Those are the Council of Richards is too.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting. But, and I want to make this quick comment. This is all about just all comic book adaptations. Obviously, you can't be one-to-one like the comics because it's a different medium. But the reason why we are continue to have this golden age of comic book movies and stuff, as opposed to what we got in the 80s and 90s, is because they were true to the characters. The stories were different, whatever. Maybe some of the characters were changed around a little bit, but the essence of the characters was there. And when you change that, everything falls apart. And that's the problem with this specific character. Say what you will about Loki. I'm not a fan of the actor, but Loki acts like that. He's supposed to be like that. So that's fine, But this dude was just totally 100% 180 different from what you'd expect. And again, taking it away from the comics, just on its own, he is not an intimidating antagonist. I can't take this dude seriously, He's
not supposed to be.
That's the problem then.
No, but we don't get that final form until later. This is just a variant who's able to stave off of the other ones. When that whole thing, when you get to the end and he's like, what did he say? I forgot what he says. I'll see you soon. These are the other variations that you'll get. So you'll get that serious, I'm the conqueror guy. You'll get all of these versions that you spoke about. But this is not the guy that you're going to get. This is why he's called He Who Remains and not, hey, I'm Kang. He referred to, I've done some conquering, but he never called himself King the Conqueror. So for me, it was okay that he came across as being giddy and a bit Joker with a slasher Riddler, because this is not the guy that, people are expecting. And I think that it would have kind of made the show a little bit, I don't know how to fully explain it, but I'm happy that they didn't show that serious version yet. So yes, I know that you hate the fact that it teases into something else, but with this version, it takes us by surprise. So they did give us Kang, but not the King that we wanted yet, because we'll get that. I know that you hate that we'll get it in the future thing, but that is what.
No, I don't hate that. I just don't. I didn't like people just saying that this episode was great because of what it teases. That's what I had a problem with. And Immortus is the actual final version of Kang. He is Kang in the future. That is the final
Well,
form.
we're not there yet. We're
Well,
going
we
to
are.
get these.
He
He kept
he's
saying,
remaining.
you'll see. Remember, he said
Yeah, no, I
there's
understand that.
different
I'm just
variants.
trying to explain to you that Immortus is the final version of Kang. That is where Kang ultimately leads to, where he's like, I don't need to conquer anymore. That was a waste of
That's the whole
time.
thing.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing between the comics and the show. I think that's irrelevant at this point.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, if you're a comic book fan, that is a valid concern to have. But just for this show, and I'm not trying to repeat myself too much, he just didn't come off as a convincing villain. That's all I'm going to say about that.
I didn't see him as the villain yet. I think Richard is trying to say something.
Yeah, let's see if we get Rich in here.
Can we get Richard?
So can I ask a question?
Yes.
If it's a very controversial one, yes.
So when this character returns, and whenever Loki season 2 happens, do you expect him to kill Sylvie? Because I understand what Tony's saying, that the character is silly, and for me, the devil is in the details, because he kept saying over and over again that there are multiple versions of me that are a lot more dangerous. So I'm expecting the character to come back and just be a badass when you do see him in Ant-Man and all these other movies, because he has to evolve. He can't just be a silly character like he was portrayed in this. But that's why I say, if people aren't really convinced yet that he's a good actor, I think you will be convinced whenever they decide to really show you the other sides of what this character is, the other versions that he can become. But my question is, if he is coming back for season 2, do you expect him to? I mean, you have to come back and take action, because honestly, I have to be honest, I'm not a Sylvie fan, and I definitely wasn't a fan after this episode. It's like Loki kept telling her, no, don't give him what he wants, and she decided to do it anyway. So I want her to pay for this moving forward. Sorry, not to offend anybody. That's just my. That's what I want to see. Yeah.
So, Rich, this is where I want to jump in, because I disagree with both of y'all. When I say both of y'all, I mean Dana and Tony.
Whoa, interesting.
I'm about to do my own universe of thought. So the whole thing with Kang and the way he's portrayed in this variant iteration of the show, I try to justify the goofy part, and I'm like, it doesn't work. And I'm like, and I thought about Tony's thought about maybe he should have been more of the villain, and I'm like, nah, I don't think that should have worked. That would have worked either. I thought, and when I was thinking of a better way for him to be interpreted, I thought it'd be better if he acted as a hero. If he acted of a way of a hero, and he's like, no, this is my justifications. I'm the one that, kept everything in check because all my other variants were trying to destroy everything and try to conquer. And I did that, but I took over, and then I know what's going to happen if I don't keep everything in place. If he was like acting like the hero of the story, if he tried to portray himself as a hero of the story, there would have been that huge dichotomy between Sylvie killing him and Loki wanting to save him. It would have made more sense if Sylvie's trying to kill a fucking Joker, like someone that's acting like a fucking idiot, and it's like, oh, it's like not trying to make that much sense. It's like, okay, I kind of understand that. But if Sylvie kills someone that's trying to portray himself as the good guy, it's more of a crux. It's more of a division between people's thoughts. And it's like, oh, did she make a good choice? Some people will be in her side, and some people will be on Loki's side. I think it'll further divide in between both of the avenues. So yeah, I think that would have been a better way to portray this Kang, and also it would have been a good thing for him to be like, hey, you know what, I'm trying to, I'm tired of this, or something. Like I've been doing this for a long fucking time. I'm just fucking tired. If you want to kill me, do it. If you want free will, go ahead. But these are the freaking consequences. Instead of, hey, just kill me. See you later.
I got something to say about that after you're done.
Oh no, I'm done.
All right. Here's the thing, Carlos, and this is the crux of the problem. Everything you just said is in there. He just doesn't portray it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the problem. Everything you just said is in there. Like, in a way, you could interpret this guy as heroic. He kind of is, if you really think about it. but this actor or director didn't push this actor to get that out of him. So that actually makes it even worse, because that material is already in there. It just wasn't raised to the forefront, because it would have been cool if at the end you're like, even though some people are already like mad at Sylvie, they're like, oh, she's like Star-Lord fucking everything up. But she kind of did it if you really think about it, right? But it's like Immortus could have been portrayed like like a hero, and it just didn't come off that way. Again, the material's there, it just wasn't portrayed that way. So I do agree with you. That would have made it more compelling had at this point I can't blame the actor, because he was told what to do by the director.
Yes.
Like, hey, listen, act heroic, or act not heroic, but act like you are in the right. You are the savior of the multiverse, right? But it didn't come off that way. She's just like, you know.
He was still thinking Apple.
So I agree with you.
And also, and the reason why I preferred it that way also is because there's gonna be a fuck ton, and maybe even during this show, there's gonna be a fuck ton of Sylvie hate. And I'm like, well, if you're a fan of free will, you should be with Sylvie's side.
Yeah,
but and then there's the other side. Like, no, if you're a fan, if you want this specific route, you're gonna have nothing but terror and you know, Kangs. So it's like that would have been a great discussion, but instead, there's a lot of people angry at Sylvie because, you know, she killed a goofy dude.
Yeah,
a goofy movie.
Yeah. I do want to say this. I'm not mad at Sylvie for what she did, because she was just acting in character. Same thing with Star-Lord, right? When he did what he did in Infinity War, like, everybody was mad at him, but yeah, he was just in characters. I can't blame him for that. But I think you're right. It would have had more of an impact if Kang was just portrayed in a different light. But fortunately, he wasn't.
One more comment to make. I think that fans are also mad because of the betrayal of the kiss, because they were waiting for that kiss between Loki and Sylvie, and right after that kiss, that was when she showed her true colors. Okay, Loki, peace out. Now I'm going to take it from here.
Yeah,
but I can see from the other episodes, I could see some foreshadowing with that, because he was explaining love is a dagger. They were fighting literally with daggers.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's cute. I see what they did, but all right, that's cute. Yeah, the only thing I was kind of paying attention to was him eating the apple the whole time, because I was thinking of that and Doctor Strange, where he was learning how to control time with the apple and bringing it back and forth. And I'm like, are they trying to piece something here? But yeah, it wasn't that big of a deal.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Sheesh. Okay, so then. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, Dana, it's weird. Like, a show that looks like it's just advertising other things that's coming. Huh?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that, obviously.
I mean, I know that seems to go. Yes, Richard.
So I just want to say this last thing, and then I'm gonna let you go, Dana. I'm cutting people off. I just want to say this: the critics that wrote these articles saying this was an amazing show, a fantastic show. I want to know, how much did Disney pay them to write these articles?
Oh,
that's like the show. And I wasn't paid by nobody. I'm sitting here in poverty.
Well, no, I'm talking about the people. Like, I see people like, it's an amazing season. Like after when the finale happened, I go online and I see a whole bunch of articles and reactions. Man, this is the best Marvel show. I'm like, what the hell are they smoking? When they... No, it's not. It has news. So I just wanted to make a comment about that.
I got to make a comment on that. Just for the interest of fairness, Disney didn't pay anybody off, right? But I will question these people's because here's the thing: even though Disney didn't pay nobody off, you know how not Disney, but the fans of these shows could be, right? Think about what happened with IGN, right? They had a specific reviewer, 4 episodes. He wrote he didn't really diss it, but he just wrote a less than positive review of the 4th episode. They got rid of him. They got somebody who was just kissing ass. So I think a lot of the writers, not you, Dana, because I know you keep it real, but I think some of these writers, like, some of them may have genuinely liked it. That's fine. But I think someone like, I want to stay in good graces, not only Disney, but the fans. So let's just be calm with it. And also, and this is just a general thing, not just for this show, just standards in general have just gone down like precipitously for the last 10 fucking years, where people are like, oh my god, this is amazing. We have people out there unironically going, the Schumacher Batman movies were actually not that bad. We should read some. No, we shouldn't. They're bad movies, And here's the thing, and I know I'm going off on a total rant right now, some unrelated, but if you like bad things, that's perfectly fine. Just admit it's bad and live with that truth, So I'm not saying this is better than the Schumacher movies. Don't get me wrong, but it's like I think people standards have just gone down so much that we see people like Black Widow. Oh my god, this movie was amazing. Really? Are you fucking kidding? Did we? Bourne movies better. No, Jason Bourne movies are better than this.
I think it's FOMO. So, I think FOMO has to do with that.
FOMO is a problem too, and also because they see people really liking it, so they want to jump in and be like, kiss some ass. You know what I'm saying? Like,
the thing you have to question about fandom itself, because the fandom is everywhere, and you're gonna have poopy entertainment.
It's in your hat.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Fandom has a way.
You're gonna be started because you're 100% right. I think I'm gonna. This is gonna hurt. I gotta say it. Fandoms, I'm talking about all fandoms now, have become absolutely insufferable in the last 5 years.
Toxic.
Yes, I don't like that word, but toxic. Yes.
It can be. I mean, when you have a group of people together and their goal is to, say, destroy something else, we've seen careers almost ended by toxicities of fans, either online or in person. Yeah. We've seen that. And
that could be a whole episode of the podcast.
That's a whole episode where, you go into
for example,
that
and I'll just say this and then we go back to Loki. Like, look at The Last Jedi. I thought that movie was absolutely fucking terrible. Nobody has the right to harass any of those actors. That is fucked up. You don't like the movie? Cool, move on. Simple as that. Just like this show. I'm saying my piece or whatever, but I don't wish ill on any of these people. You know what I'm saying? Do what you do. I want you to be successful. So I think fandoms take this shit too seriously. Anytime I say anything about Loki, I get in there, motherfuckers talking all this shit. Or whenever I rightfully say Ghost of Tsushima was the best game of 2020, those Last of Us haters, man, they come in.
Watch yourself, Tony.
Yeah, so I agree with you, Dane. I know we got off on a tangent, but it's related to this. Like
every time
because it goes back to what Rich said. Bro, if you're saying this is like the greatest piece of cinema or TV or whatever, you are smoking something. And I don't even smoke. I think that's a nasty habit. I want what you're smoking. Please give me that shit because I don't want to feel that good.
I feel like a lot of these fandoms, like it's like the console wars. It's like Rolling Stones or Beatles. It's been going on for forever now. They get on a horse to ride on, and then that's the one they pick, and they have to defend it to the end because they don't want to seem like idiots or like they're wrong or there's anything flawed with their way of thinking. It's like, I think that's a lot of things. Also, but there's also to counter that. I do believe that a lot of the Marvel fans that tweet about this every week are genuine. I just feel the term of the conversation about standards lowering. I don't think that's a good one because there's been shit movies that have been praised forever. I think it's in terms of this one, in this case, I think it's just a lot of people looking for an event. In light of the pandemic, in light of a lot of things being delayed, a lot of things not coming out. I think people just want to gravitate into something that they can love, and I think a lot of that is going towards this.
I agree with that, but I still think you need to be remove all that from the equation and judge things as they are. Like I saw a lot of people, maybe some people in this room, talking about how Mortal Kombat was a good movie because it was at home. No, that's not a metric, man. That's not a metric. At home or theater movies, trash. And if you like it, that's okay, but admit it's trash. That's all I say. Like what you like, it's all good. No judgments here, because I'm talking about the product.
You just judge the whole thing.
Yeah, no, I'll judge the product, but not the person. But unless you're being toxic, then I'll judge your fucking ass.
Dana, it's time for a flawless victory. It's time for a flawless victory soundbite.
Yes, flawless victory. Anyway, let's get back on Loki.
Well,
it was good. The tangent,
Great tangent. But there was one point that I did want to bring up. There was a point where Mobius went back to the TVA and he met Ravonna, and he was explaining to Ravonna everything that's going on. Ravonna was she understood and she knew what was going on, and they had this conversation about free will, and in the kind of very suddenly, she was going to prune him, but she decided not to, and she was like, you know what, I'm going to go. I didn't know if this was a statement of I'm going to go and find myself some free will, or she meant that as being sarcastic, and she was going to leave because she knew things were about to get haywire. So if anyone has any thoughts on that scene, yes. I thought I heard Richard.
That's what I thought. Go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, for those on the cast that said that this was a horrible episode, the question is, do they even care?
Oh, that's a good point. Here's the thing, that specific scene, Dana. That's when I kind of had my first hint, because I had no idea that this was effectively one season series that was cut in half. I didn't know that. But this scene where she just left, I'm like, wait, that seems like you're setting up another episode. Then when I learned after the fact, oh, okay, I get it, because it did just kind of just end, not end. It stopped completely, because you thought you were getting some kind of resolution with those characters. By the way, I will say this though, I do think Owen Wilson and Homegirl, I think their interactions very good, right? I think Ramona, I don't know what her real name is. By the way,
Gugu.
What's her name? No, I'm talking about in real life. I don't know.
Oh
Gugu.
man, really?
Gugu.
Google.
It's G-U-G, also Gugu. Like Grogu. It's Gugu.
Oh, okay. Anyway,
Mothra.
she's cool. I like her, but I do wish they would have brought to another solution. But I'm confused though, and remind me if I'm wrong or not. Wasn't Owen Wilson with her at the very, very end, where he's like, "What variant are you?"
That's because she sent him to a whole separate timeline.
Okay, no, but it was the same. It was still Ravonna, right? Or a Ravonna?
Yeah, but it was a Ravonna and a Morbius. There were 3 Ravonnas in this show.
Yeah, there were. There's the one that was like the variant version, right? Where she's just in her little classroom. I think it would look like a school, right?
Like a school. She's a teacher.
I thought at the end
teacher.
he was with the Hunter.
B-15.
Yeah, was B-15? Yeah, I wonder who was he with at the end?
He was with
B-15.
Oh, he was with B-15. Okay.
Yeah.
After Ravonna goes through the door, you don't see her.
You don't see her anymore. Okay, that's what I want to know. I just wanted
She's
to
gone. That variant is gone.
She is. That's season 2 stuff, obviously. So I can't get too upset about that, because they're setting up the future, which is fine. I do want to say this though, not to get off track, but it's still about this, right? About Kang, because I'm wondering, okay, because the next place we're going to see him is in Ant-Man 3, right?
Yes.
So how do you have whatever event happens in Ant-Man 3 and then have him back in season? Never mind, I just answered my own question. He's just a variant.
Everything is a variant. I believe he's going to be in more than just it.
It's going to be 2 Kangs. Yeah.
It's more than just him. More. I think he's going to be in other shows or other movies they did not announce yet.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind. I answered my own question. But yeah, again, that scene, I liked it because, again, I like those 2 characters. See, I could be nice. I could say some good things about this show. I like those 2 characters. But Guadalupe, right? But I can't fucking get too mad because nothing happened from it,
There we go.
So hold on. So here's the question. I thought Ravonna was Kang's girlfriend. Has this not happened?
Yes.
Not yet.
We don't know yet. Not yet.
Not yet in the show.
Okay.
Not in the show yet.
All right.
Man, he said the girl's real name sounds like a Cthulhu monster. Oh, yeah. Gugu Mafala. I don't know.
She's African.
Okay. Yeah, that's why. Listen, we're Westerners. We have a problem pronouncing that. No disrespect to her, obviously, because again, I like her. She's a good actress, and she's fine too. So no problems there. What I can say, she looks fine. Fuck.
By the way, this is Joey Polacco's wife, so you need to be standing up for your woman, Joey.
I thought his wife was a blonde chick.
Florence.
He has multiple.
There's
variants. I'll take Gugu then, because I'll
side pieces or variants. I don't know what you want to call them.
Like my women's is with little tan. Anyway, go on.
So the thing with Ravonna, I have no clue what's going on. I'm not mad because she left off and it's getting set up for season 2. I think that's fine. She's a side character anyways. I just don't know. I don't really understand what she was implying when she's like, oh, I have to go here to do this. I don't know what that means. She's just she's been like a mystery this whole time, and she remains a mystery. I don't think anything was solved. And I agree with Tony. I think her and Mobius's interactions are really good. They're always well acted. Though they have really good chemistry together, and I really appreciate that about the show. Right. So that's pretty much my thoughts on that.
I was puzzled by something. So after, I know I'm skipping ahead, but it has to do with the whole thing with Sylvie pushing Loki through the door.
Yeah.
How did time change around him? He got pushed through before she stabbed Majors, right?
I was about to ask the same question.
Okay, sorry.
He should have been in the main branch. He should have been with Mobius that he knows or whatever. But he runs to the library, and they're like, "Who are you? Are you an analyst? What's your name, brother?"
Because when he gets to the library, that's when Sylvie stabs Kang and he dies.
Yes, but
so
why?
My theory.
Why did the timeline branch behind him? He should have been in the main one. Things changed around him. That doesn't make sense.
Inconsistent.
They could have sent him
again.
I think that's just a minor plot. Plot.
No. This is the writing, the bad writing.
I agree.
Earlier.
There's major plot holes that the show has, but I think that's just the intention was, she's supposed to kill this dude, and it's supposed to change when he goes to the thing. But obviously she can't kill Kang while Homeboy's there, or he'll stop her. So it's like it's just a plot hole, but it's nothing too major. There's nothing too majors.
Yeah, I was about to say not Majors, right? By the way, that dude has an awesome name, Jonathan Majors. That's a superhero name,
It's a good name. But so going back just a wee bit on the Goo Goo, one could say, remember when she was saying that I'm going to go and find, my new life, because she dedicated everything to the TVA. Yeah. So it's clear now that she didn't know everything. She knew that there were variants. She knew that she was taking real people, but I don't assume that she knew about the other time branch, like the other timeline, that it was okay for, I don't know how to explain it, but kind of like it wasn't all evil if she was to go to another timeline or a time branch. So to me, it kind of seemed like when she said, I'm going to go and find my, free will, basically. Well, what's that like? I feel that she's going to probably end up meeting a version of Kang then, and that's how they end up linking up.
Makes sense.
But
it could be.
But the rules of this story are inconsistent. If she goes through a door, that time can change around you, then how does she know she's going to end up where she planned to end up?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If Loki can sit in a room and have time change around him, then how the hell is she going to end up in a consistent timeline where she planned to go wherever that was?
I don't know. That's the thing, is we don't know where she planned on going.
Right, and that's bad writing, because they should have explained it. Even like a 5-minute thing. Like, you remember in Back to the Future 2 where Doc Brown found the blackboard and he explained how time branches and how they can't go to the future because it's the future of this branch we're on. And even a comedy could explain this better than this thing. And the whole thing is based on timelines and branching and multiverse, and they can't keep it consistent. You cannot have an inconsistent story. Makes your plot holes are just going to abound because you can't keep anything straight.
Right.
She cannot go somewhere and find whatever it is she's looking for if time is just fluctuating and changing around everybody. Even Loki, who didn't go through, he went through a door before Immortus gets stabbed, and then as soon as Immortus gets stabbed, somehow he's affected. He's in a whole completely different timeline. You don't see anything change
and no one else is affected either.
Yeah. But they don't remember him. Yeah.
I just imagine when Chris watches this show, he doesn't watch what's in the show. He just watches what the TVA watches, the branching timelines when everything's going crazy. Those are the plot holes for Chris. It's like, branch it out.
Oh, goodness. That's very true. So this was just a lot of talking and everything, what did you guys think of the possibility of the multiverse war? Because that's what he was explaining. The whole thing was to stop this war from happening.
Yeah.
So now that it may happen, I know this is into the future, and this is not going to something that's current. Is there any excitement? Any thoughts on that?
Well, go ahead, Rich.
Well, no, go ahead, Carlos. I'll go after.
Here's the part that I did like about this episode. Well, no, another part that I liked about this episode. Shout out to Manny.
Technically, she did, but this show didn't follow that. Tilda Swinton in Endgame did explain, like, once you remove one stone from the past. The way I took that is literally when Steve Rogers goes back and dances with the girl. That's technically.
It wasn't just dancing. I'll just leave it at that.
I don't know.
Yeah, shouldn't the TVA have shown up at her house at that exact moment? Like, what are you doing here?
By the rules of this show, yes, but that would be technically the first Nexus event.
Well, they explained it that they wanted that to happen. Because he brought up, remember in the previous episodes, they used the Infinity Stones. And the TVA, they wanted that to happen. Everything that they said that they wanted to happen, happened. And if it didn't happen, then they got pruned.
Right, but that's exactly what pisses me off about this show. It's that nobody had any choice in what they did. Nobody, like Tony Stark didn't figure out quantum tunneling. He was supposed to figure it out. Like, everything has been just a chess piece by Mortis up until that point. And then when he ran out of script, he went, shit, I don't know what's going to happen. And he gets stabbed. It's like, God damn it.
Because I don't think he knew what was going to happen because he didn't know whether or not Sylvie was going to stab
Yes, but
her.
he's also really, really smart. He was a freaking scientist to begin with. He said he's lived a really long time, which he has in the comic book too. He's lived so long. He's done so many things. Like, that wisdom and experience would have prepared him for something. He would have had some kind of countermeasure. But he did. As soon as he ran out of script, he just became a dumbass. And he just sat in a chair and was like, well, what's your decision? Knife in the gut. Okay, well, I'll be back later. And then he dies.
Okay.
I didn't like the way that that Kang was kind of portrayed in that scene that Tony mentioned was extended for far too long. But I do like the fact that there is a creature, there is a person or a being that, you know, that is that powerful, and it's like, and he's like talking about, there's this whole Kang Wars, and I kept everyone at bay, and you don't want these motherfuckers to come out because they're gonna wreck some shit. And I guess the part that I like is like, okay, so you're killing me, and you're gonna see the freaking consequences. It's gonna go permeate throughout all of the MCU, and I actually do like that part. The way it got to that part, I didn't enjoy it, but I did like the outcome of it. It kind of sets up, and it was an issue that I had when the show started. I mentioned how I don't like these TV shows as much because they don't have as much consequences on the overall story, on the overall MCU. And Tony mentioned there were OVAs, and I agree with that. And I think this is something that is more than just an OVA. This is something that's going to affect everything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they changed the rules now. They changed the rules. Like, it used to be that. Now it's like, no, these are now setting up the movies. Now this is right, and then so Doctor Strange and Ant-Man are going to be directly affected by this show.
And Spider-Man.
Yeah, so
yes.
I like that they had the balls to do something like that. I appreciate that. Whether it's going to get implemented correct in a tasteful manner with the movies, the way it'll affect the movies is another question. We'll see. But I enjoyed the fact that I watched this show and there were consequences to what happened. Whether they were implemented tastefully or not is another conversation. But I like that they actually did something that affects the bigger universe, and that I watched something that I know is going to get at least paid off somewhat when I watch the movies.
Well, the last episode at least.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I said, this is
the
only really a necessary episode of this entire show, to be honest. But the thing is, like, they're going to do it in a way where if you watch the movies and don't watch this, it's not necessary to have watched this. They're going to do it that way too.
Like a recap kind of thing.
They may not even do a recap. They'd be like, "Oh, this happened somewhere in the timeline." Just brush it off in a sentence and move on. I fully suspect. I suspect they're gonna do that. They won't even mention these events because they don't want to, like you said yourself, Carlos. They don't want to alienate the people who are gonna skip this show. You know, so they're gonna find a way to reference it without referencing it. You know.
So then now we have to. Yep. Go on. Yep.
Yeah, no. Where was it? Was it like where? No, we actually discussed this on Throwdown after the show was over. It's like, think about this: if you just saw an Endgame, right? What did you see Falcon do at the end of the movie? He got the shield of Captain America. So you're like, oh shit, he's gonna become Captain America, right? Imagine you don't watch Falcon Winter Soldier at all. So when you watch the next movie, you're like, hey, there he is. He's Captain America, just like he was at the end of Endgame. So all that stuff that happened in Falcon Winter Soldier doesn't even matter. So I suspect the same thing's gonna happen here. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. If you just watch Endgame and wherever Anthony Malky comes in next, in your mind, like, oh, at the end of the Endgame, he was Captain America. He was given the shield. He's next Captain America. You see him like he's Captain America already, just like at the end of the movie. They're gonna do some shit like that. Watch, you know, just like with this show, they're gonna make a reference, but not a reference at the same time. You know, because they don't want to alienate the people.
I mean, they could. Yeah,
because they don't want to piss people off. Because some people will get mad about it. They're like, I don't want to watch this show. I just want to watch a movie. You know.
So, can I make 2 quick comments?
No.
So
let me just start by saying this. I agree with Carlos's point that it felt that the end of this show, what it did for setting up the future of the universe, great. However, that after credit scene that only says Loki is coming back for season 2, I was highly disappointed when I saw that.
Why were you upset about that?
I want to know what is it going to directly affect next. So I mean, I know obviously you're not going to, you know, put a whole bunch of money into getting Tom Holland to show up, but some type of teaser as to where's the next time this story is going to pick up. I would have appreciated that more than letting me know we're getting Loki season 2. So I definitely did not like to see that.
You can't complain that you guys didn't like the show and then like, where's season 2? No.
I'm not saying that.
I'm not talking about season 2. I'm talking about, I want to see what is the next movie this is going to directly impact. I don't want I want like some Easter eggs or something, because we got a whole bunch of Easter eggs in the previous episode. You could have had something to give you a clue as to.
There we go.
When it's
gotta have some.
Gotta have some.
Yeah.
Well, that's from the trailer for Spider-Man. Because remember, they couldn't release the trailer. They couldn't do you anything until this show was over with.
Yeah.
I have a question there as well, actually.
Go ahead.
Because this show technically takes place right after the first Avengers.
Yes.
So we're just going to automatically assume that everything that's affected is after Endgame?
Yes.
Oh, that's a good point.
Nothing's changed before? That wasn't explained at all.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It wasn't.
So technically, like,
also,
he could come back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
He could come back.
No.
And also, to piggyback off of what Chris said, Chris truly is the one that will show the true colors of the show and make you dislike it even more. Because when you guys had the narrative about the back and forth where Kang, you know, is like, well, you can stab me or whatever, Kang already knew what was going to happen. So when I think about it now, like he had that whole moment in the scene where, oh, well, now time has passed. I don't know what's going to happen. But he had to know, because he knew that if he died, there will be other versions of him coming back. So see, that is a little confusing. He should have known, yes, Loki, Sylvie is going to kill me and betray you. But no, I don't know that, because I have no idea what's going to happen. All I know is that if you kill me, I'm coming back. So I was a little confused about that. But continue, carry on.
So I think in terms of Thanos coming back, I think what this does is that it allows for anything to happen. I guess the implication, the insinuation is that anything can happen in any timeline. It doesn't have to follow a certain structure. So the stuff with Endgame, it already happened to them. So it's just going on a thread, and it just keeps going on the same path that it's going, you know. And the only difference is Kang is the one that can come in and interrupt it.
Mhm.
I think that's what this is implying. It's like everything that's going to happen in those things is going to happen. It's just that Kang is the one that can come to the past or to the present or to whenever, and take over.
Hmm.
So
I don't know. I think Joey has a point. I think that if Loki sees the timeline change around him and all of a sudden things are different and we're just past the first Avengers movie, then wouldn't that have happened everywhere in the universe?
But that's so the TVA is not a timeline. When he goes back to the TVA, that's not a specific timeline. They're looking at every timeline. That's what they're investigating. It's
No,
I don't
but
know.
he's in a different timeline because Mobius doesn't recognize him.
Yeah, but who knows? But who knows if Kang came, like one of the other Kangs came in and indoctrinated him and because Kang was the one that brainwashed him in the first place. So
Well, you see his statue, so he must have been ruling that place for a while.
Yeah.
He is
Well,
on
how-
a different timeline where Kang is running the TVA, and he is not hiding behind three space lizards. He just is the TVA. Like his statue is right there. You see his face. So,
that's
and Mobius doesn't know who he is, and they go to arrest him, and they're like, "Oh, you're an analyst. You're dressed like an analyst. Who are you? What division do you work for?" How come Mobius doesn't know? Because the timeline shifted. Either he ended up in a different timeline when she pushed him through the door, which doesn't make sense because she hadn't actually killed Immortus at that point, so he should have gone back to the main one, but he doesn't. So if you're gonna do that and say like, okay, all of a sudden he branched off because she stabbed Immortus, then everything would have changed everywhere, not just in the TVA but everywhere.
well, I think the part I can't debate the part where she sends Loki back, and like before she stabs him. I think that's a plot hole. But the fact that Mobius and B-15 are acting like they don't know him, I think that's just one of the Kangs went into the TVA and manipulated everything, and kind of like what the original Kang did, and they brainwashed Mobius and B-15 to bend at his will and do what he wants to do. So when Loki goes down there, they have no reference of him. I don't think that's a different branch. I think it's the same two people that have been in the show throughout the whole time. I think they've just been brainwashed to do what one of the Kangs wants them to do.
I actually have a second thing in this episode that was not kind of addressed. In this episode, Sylvie, when Sylvie is fighting, I keep saying Sylvie. When Sylvie is fighting Loki, and he's just like, well, is he lying? Is he not? All this or whatever. Why didn't she just try to enchant him?
Oh,
because
I
she
thought
was
the same
busy
thing.
trying to. No,
Very
here's
good
the thing.
point.
I thought
That's
she
an
couldn't
excellent
enchant more
point.
than one at the same time.
Huh?
What?
I thought she couldn't enchant because Elias is still enchanted. That's how she was able to get through.
They passed him already.
They passed him.
Yeah,
They
but
passed him.
I
She
thought he was
doesn't
still
need-
enchanted.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
No. Yeah.
oh.
They just need to get past him. Like that's done. She could have enchanted Immortus and found out what he knew. Like Joey makes an excellent point. That is a huge plot hole.
Yeah.
She should have just grabbed his head, enchanted him, and been like, "Oh shit, he really is telling the truth, and he really has lived this long, and there really is a million versions of him ready to kill everyone." So
Which they showed throughout this season that's kind of her first action in most cases.
Yeah.
Is to enchant.
Except
Yeah,
this time
but-
because the plot couldn't have her do that.
No, but I
Yeah,
think that if
I
your
agree with
entire
those
mission was to go there, to your entire goal of life is to go and kill the timekeeper, then you finally get there. You're not going to start enchanting him.
Yeah, but
No,
if
but-
You can enchant him and kill him. You do
yes,
both.
Ah,
and she had Loki there convincing her, "Hey, look, I'm a liar. I know about lies, and I don't think he's lying." Don't you think she would have had some doubt at that point, like, "Oh, maybe I could find out what is really going on"? Like, wouldn't you want to know before you stabbed him? Because she had immediately regretted it after she stabbed him, right?
Yeah.
She stabs him and kills him, and then she drops to her knees and starts crying. She has this emotional breakdown. And it's like, yeah, because there's no going back from what you did. Now we have Mandela effects, and all of a sudden Bernstein is spelled wrong, and everything's topsy turvy. She caused that.
I thought it was I.
Red rum.
Yeah,
As
that's
like-
a big plot hole. I didn't even realize that.
I viewed
No,
it as her crying out of just I finally did it.
And
I
listen,
think that's part of it too.
I'm gonna point this out right now. I was right from the beginning. I said the big bad of this series was Kang, and I was right. So I don't know why anybody's debating me on the timeline issues here.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, slightly off topic, but still on it, because I was just curious. I'm like, yo, because I've been talking about Kang in the MCU for a long time. My first tweet about Kang in the MCU, this is from August 28th. It was almost a year now, 2014. I said, I want to see Kang the Conqueror in Avengers movie. Then, I don't know what was going on with me that month. 3 tweets about Kang. I was like, we need him in MCU. It's like, guys, imagine him in the MCU. I was going off that month.
So it's all your fault. Okay.
Yeah, I was seeing into the future, but yeah, they're right about that. It's like she could have enchanted him, get the knowledge, and then stabbed him. She could have easily done that.
But what knowledge else is there to get?
To find out if he was telling
the truth.
But see, but this is again. No, it goes. No, what's convenient is how the writers set it up.
Exactly.
They set it up for her to just be angry and belligerent and stab him, instead of doing what Joey said. What she has been doing is enchanting people left, right, and center to get what she wants. And then she gets to the big bad. Loki tells her multiple times. Hell, he stopped a sword with his neck. He's like, "Hey, listen, don't kill this guy." I don't know how he did that, by the way.
Yeah,
the momentum should have killed him right there.
I thought he died in that episode.
Yeah, just like the building that went backwards for no reason.
Yes,
that was him.
So that was plot convenience for her not to use the main power that she's been using this whole show to just. It could have taken her 10 seconds to find out the truth,
But then what happens? Because if he was right, then she wouldn't have killed him.
Right, but they couldn't write around that, so they did the simplest thing that they could have done, because this is mid-tier writing. This is what Tony's been complaining about. They couldn't think around this, so it's just plot convenience that she didn't do it.
And technically, he did not have to die because it wasn't written yet. We were past a certain time.
That's right. Yeah.
So,
bam.
Dana,
yes, Richard.
When you send this show, this recap to Marvel, you need to tell that Tony Polanco, Joey Polanco, and Chris Hilly, they need to be considered writers for
Listen, man, I'm just saying. I'm not even saying I need to be a writer. I just have me in there and Chris in there just to make sure they're consistent with their shit. That's all we're asking. Because again, you could have both. You could have her do what she had always done in the show and enchant people, and still kill him and get her revenge, because you need that. You need that end, to her story arc. You need her to kill him. You need that in there. But the way they did it was just contrived as fuck.
Okay, but then
and again, when I'm watching this episode, I had to say this real quick. I'm watching them. Did you just run out of money? Like, why are we could have done this in a more compelling way instead of just being in that little room for fucking forever, talking.
But they had the whole animation with the thing in the hand.
Tom Hiddleston salary.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But again, it's a TV show, so I guess they have to be budgeted. But I don't know.
Jeez Louise. And then I guess we kind of already touched upon the end, the Planet of the Apes end, where I seem to be the only one who loved it, but whatever. Definitely you could tell that this was a scene right out of Planet of the Apes, where, for me at least. Okay, so we get to the point where, she's going around, she's going to stab him, and we go and we follow Tom Hiddleston, Loki, and, it's really soon that right away we know things have changed. He's trying to warn Mobius and Hunter B-15 about the threat, and he kept saying someone is coming. Countless different versions of very dangerous person, he tells them, and they're all set on war. We need to prepare. But no one knows what it is that he's talking about, as we discussed previously, and the thing is that it ends on a cliffhanger where we get the whole Planet of the Apes type statue, and we realize that he is in a whole nother timeline, and that we know that this is where this is the start of the multiverse. So with that said, yes, it's in the future, but who knows how season 2 will be affected? Is anyone somewhat can muster up a lie of excitement?
Can I?
I'm just wondering if Ravonna is going to appear in Spider-Man, because is she the principal of his school? Is that what they're implying?
That's a good comment.
Yeah, like I said, I had already mentally checked out by like halfway through this episode. So what they do at this point, I don't care anymore. Like I'm questioning whether I even want to continue with the MCU at this point. I don't think these writers are
So
doing
then
anything.
no movies as well? Because
Yeah, I think so, because Black Widow was just bad, you know.
yeah, but you didn't see that. So that's
and that it doesn't instill confidence, because I think the
doesn't.
showrunner from Falcon and Winter Soldier and the head writer are writing Captain America 4, and I'm like, I don't want to see any more of this shit, and that's
Yeah.
going to be in the movies now.
Right. But then okay, now we know in a way you can connect this to WandaVision and why her children were crying out for her at the end, and that was because of everything that was going on with Loki. I know they didn't explain this, but Loki takes place before WandaVision.
I would
Yeah.
challenge that. I would challenge that theory and say they were crying because they had to watch the Loki show.
No, and I swear to Black Jesus.
You know,
I have excitement.
So let me. I am excited for future movies. I'm excited for Blade. I want to see how X-Men are used in the MCU. But yeah, pretty much what everyone else has already said. I'm not really excited for Loki season 2. You know, we'll see about some of these other shows. I don't particularly care about any of the shows coming the rest of the year either. No offense to Florence, even though I'm sure
Well, poor Shang.
What's that? What?
Poor Shang-Chi.
Oh, Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a show. That's a movie.
That's a movie. Yeah, but it's on Disney Plus.
I'm definitely going to watch the movies. I'm just saying, in terms of the movies, I'm actually excited to see. I want to see Blade and X-Men and how they're utilized in MCU. Everything else I will watch just to watch, but I'm not necessarily excited to see it. Yeah.
Man, they're going to have to bring the Russo brothers back.
I seriously, you're right. Like that,
Yeah.
like you have dropped like several tiers of caliber of directing and
You
writing,
have.
and I don't understand how these same people you're going to take and use them for the cinematic stuff too. It's like they can't even
this is
handle a
bad.
series.
Yeah, they can't do a series, right? So how are they going to do
Right.
movies? You know, what do we have? We have Shang-Chi. We have the Eternals. I don't know about all that.
Oh, that
No,
looks
no,
like
no, no.
trash just by itself.
No. Because remember, the Eternals always said they never interfered, and the reason we all thought was because of Thanos, but in actuality, it was because of the whole multiverse now. So, yay!
I'm not going
Anything?
to.
That doesn't get me excited.
I'm not going to interfere in watching
Damn
it.
That doesn't get me excited. I don't care. The
No,
Eternals have never been good. It's never been a good. They've tried so
never
many
been
times with the goddamn comics over and over and over again. Never works
Yeah,
because they're not
Ooh.
compelling characters. You know.
Ooh, all right. So, Inhumans 2.0.
Yeah, basically, even worse.
Oh,
Even
okay.
worse than Inhumans. And at least
Wait,
Inhumans
I'm
have
sorry,
had-
what?
Yes, because at least Inhumans have had long-running comic book series that last at least 2 years. Eternals is like fucking 6 issues and they're done because no one cares.
And I
you
mean,
know?
it's like you just see a bunch of either has-beens or not going to be's walking on a dude ranch, and this is I'm supposed to be excited for this movie.
Exactly.
I'm only excited for Doctor Strange because Sam Raimi's doing it.
Yes, same here.
That's a
I
good
love
reason.
Sam
That's a good
Raimi,
reason. That's a good
It's
reason.
a
Sam
horror.
Raimi.
It's a horror movie. We got multiple things that's going on. Sam
We
Raimi
have an
is
experienced
Yeah, Sam
director.
Raimi, that's
too.
enough for me. That's
Look,
enough for
I
me.
saw
Okay,
2
there you go.
trailers for Shang-Chi. I'm not interested.
Yeah, no, that looks whack. That looks stupid.
It looks,
back.
yeah.
What? But we get a different version of Abomination.
I don't
Who's
care.
Which
from
they
the
threw
movie
in.
that
They
I
threw,
know.
they threw it at the end, and also he's getting beat up by magic. It's not
So-
him fighting the Hulk. It's him fighting like some dude like Wang and Doctor Strange, who's beating the shit out of him with magic powers. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Jesus.
Wang.
Dang. Okay, jeez. Yeah. So one more thing, really quickly, was the horrors of Miss Minutes. We saw that Miss Minutes, she's sinister. We don't fully know everything, but she was a puppet for He Who Remains, and she brings them the offering about reinserted back in the sacred timeline in a way that things won't disrupt things. And so I was wondering, taking that line in a way that won't disrupt things, is there a way to bring that sacred timeline back together? I know that we're not going to get that in this show, but kind of looking forward, which I know you guys don't want to look forward to.
No, it's not. I don't think they're going to because it wouldn't be convenient to what they're trying to do with the multiverse stuff.
Okay. Do you think that we'll see the demon back?
Or which demon?
No,
Miss Minutes.
Who cares? I don't know.
Nobody cares.
I don't really care.
I'll go ahead, Rich.
I think that was a waste of time. How about that?
You think what was a waste of time?
Miss Minutes.
Ms. Minute.
She was. It was cute and all, but whatever. You know?
But if you go through different timelines and stuff, would she not be the same?
She would be.
She would be confused. I mean, I'm saying, like, wouldn't she have no knowledge of everything else in the other timelines?
No, I think that she would know how to not. She could be in the other timelines and figure out a way to still know everything.
I think to answer the question about the whole multiverse and how long it's going to stay, ripped apart and stuff, I think it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while because not only all of the movies, the Spider-Mans, the Eternals, the Doctor Stranges are pretty much going to be based upon that. They're going to use that opportunity to bring up the Fantastic Four and the X-Men into the MCU fold.
Yeah.
So this has to keep going until at least that is established, and then they can settle it however they want after that. But yeah.
Oh God! I just realized what they're gonna do.
Galactus, Cloud.
I just realized oh my God.
We got a new Galactus Funko.
What they're probably gonna do is like they're gonna do like the multiverse is like in peril and we got to bring everything back. So like in like phase 6 or whatever, they just reset everything. This is a typical comic book trope. They do this all the time. DC is the worst with this shit. They're doing it right now. They're having a current event where like, oh, the multiverse is going crazy. You got to fix everything. So Marvel hasn't done that too much, but they've done it enough. So I can see that happening. But here's the thing about Rich. You're getting excited about potentially the Blade and X-Men. That's great, and I think potentially those and Fantastic Four could save the MCU, but that's not coming to like phase 5, bro. So phase 4, that's already I think it's a wash at this point.
One point that I will add is the director, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dana, the director of Spider-Man is the same director of Fantastic Four.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
John Watts. I believe he is directing. He is also doing Fantastic Four. So I
didn't know we had a director.
I didn't know we had a director.
I didn't know we had a director.
It hasn't even. It technically hasn't even been announced yet.
For Spider-Man, the next Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, but
So Far From Home.
No, Rich is right. In the Disney investor call, they said he was directing. That he was set to direct Fantastic Four. Yes.
Oh, okay.
He said it in the investor.
Joey, I see you over there looking that shit up.
Yeah, I'm looking it up.
Please look it up, bro. Yeah,
it was in the investor thing they had that big video.
Oh, okay.
When Kevin Feige showed the logo,
I remember the Fantastic Four being announced, but I don't remember a director. Okay, thank you for letting me know that.
He's the director, Fantastic Four. No more
I just googled Fantastic Four director and Josh Trank came out.
No.
That movie with no second act. All right, bro.
Well, the biggest thing there, same thing for Spider-Man and Fantastic Four, that he's the director, not the writer.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's a director of Spider-Man, the new one that's coming out, or one of the previous ones?
Yes, the new one.
The new one.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I mean, if he does a good job with Spider-Man, then maybe it's something we can look forward to.
But it's weird that you're giving people multiple jobs without knowing the outcome of the first one. DC.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the thing is, remember, Marvel has their shit a little bit better planned than DC does,
Yeah.
Remember, like, then they showed, like, they had the fight scene in Infinity War, or Endgame, planned out years before the movie was even filmed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they know what they're doing. I just don't know if they're going to do it right because, again, I don't trust the new people in charge, Even though it is still Kevin Feige, but second Feige's on some nonsense I'm not going to get into here.
If we're gonna go delve into that, I think we should treat the shows separate than the movies, because I think they obviously didn't want to make these shows as impactful as the movies are. The only Phase 4 movie we've gotten is Black Widow, and obviously there's people here that didn't like it. I didn't feel like it was too egregious. I felt it was like a decent movie that didn't blow me away. Shang-Chi, I have no clue what the hell that's going to be about, so I can't really judge it.
That looked like trash.
Yeah, it looks like trash.
Well, it's just a trailer. We'll see. And
Trash Widow failed at being a Jason Bourne movie.
Jeez Louise, you guys are harsh.
You didn't like that movie, though.
I hated that movie with all my heart.
I mean, it's
You didn't like it because it advertised further stuff, just like Loki did.
Uh-oh.
I hate you.
Yeah, Carlos, I held back in our discussion of Black Widow, but I could make you hate that movie if you give me 15 minutes.
Well, we're not gonna do that here today.
I'd rather spend those 15 minutes do something else.
You know.
We have fantastic. I mean, not Doctor Strange. I wasn't the biggest fan of the first one, so I don't know how you guys are feeling about the Doctor Strange sequel.
Well, I have confidence in the director. I'm with Joey. I'm like, I love Sam Raimi.
Raimi.
I love the Evil
Sam
Dead
Raimi.
movies, and he did the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies.
Yes, he did.
So he has a track record. So I have faith in him, right? Whereas we've seen 2 trailers of Shang-Chi, and I'm like, I don't know about this.
I enjoyed the first Doctor Strange, but from what I heard, he tweeted a few times saying like there was just creative differences, and he dropped out of the project. Which I'm like, whoa! I thought Marvel gives you that freedom, that creative freedom.
Well, that's why Edgar Wright dropped out of Ant-Man.
That's right.
Yeah, problems. Yeah.
Right.
Well, like 5 directors dropped out of Ant-Man, but
Yeah, I mean, because Marvel very strict with what they want to do, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And also, Doctor Strange is no time soon. That's
No, that's not this
2020.
year. Yeah.
March.
2020.
2020. That was last
sorry,
year.
22. Sorry.
Oh, I was about to say, wait, what?
It's the
Like, I know the
timeline.
Rona fucked everybody's time, but goddamn, time damage came in here, fuck shit up, you know.
And then technically, it caught me by surprise when they renewed this for season 2, but this doesn't have an expected year, right?
No, it's
Yeah, I
going to
don't
be
think- no,
years. They said years. From
All right, they could take their time.
Years.
That's fine.
Holy shit.
Years.
They can make their time.
Plural.
Yes.
So in other
The-
words, what happens in the movie is going to happen before season 2, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
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 I do think,
Maybe.
especially for a lot of the people in this room, I think we might be in a world of hurt, because I think Black Widow, obviously, a lot of people didn't like it from here.
No.
Shang-Chi is already getting prejudged for the trailers, so we don't like, and that's the next one that's coming out. After that, it's Eternals, and a lot of people aren't looking forward to that. So we have to go through that to get to Spider-Man, which I feel like will be a good. I have faith in that one more than I do the other ones. Yeah. Well, and then Doctor Strange, and then Thor, and then it's like we're getting back to, and then Black Panther. So I think that's more of the better part of the Phase 4 of the MCU. I think we're going to be going through a more uncertain part of it in the near future.
I forgot about those 2 until you just said it right now.
Yeah,
about Thor and Black Panther, and I hope they don't say like, "Hey, T'Challa never existed." Timeline screw
Yeah,
up. I'm like,
they have to go through that. Yeah,
They better not say that.
but it's still going to be directed by what's his name?
Ryan Coogler.
Ryan Coogler. So I have faith in him. He's really good.
And it's going to be in tribute. No, the whole thing, they're very serious about Chadwick Boseman and his legacy. And they said it's going to be in tribute. Yeah, so it's going to be in tribute. They're not erasing Black Panther. Who? No, it's not going to be that.
All right.
So
I'm just gonna say this now. Shang-Chi is gonna bomb financially.
Oh.
no.
Yes.
No.
Let me tell you, China's going to run it in theaters for a week and drop it because it has multiple things not going for it. First of all, that the lady who's directing it, is she directing Eternals? One of them.
Yeah.
But Shang-Chi's going to bomb because already audiences there said they don't like the actor who's playing Shang-Chi. They like the guy who's playing the Mandarin. They asked why he couldn't play Shang-Chi. So you have that right there.
Yeah.
I think they already. It's not just us that prejudged it in China. They prejudged it, but the chick directing Eternals, she already pissed off the CCP already, and she won an Academy Award here, and they said they don't want her movies there. So are they even going to play Eternals in China?
Yeah, but
Well, as long as it's a good movie, I couldn't care less about what.
Yeah, bro, we're talking
No,
about
but that's
financially.
their
We're talking about
box
financially.
office.
Yeah,
That's
many-
the problem is their money, right?
Many
No,
agrees.
Yeah,
I think
I agree with that. Like
I
if
don't know.
your movie
I don't
bombs
know.
in China, your movie just bombs now. That's just the
Yeah,
way it is.
that's why they're so invested, like Fast and Furious series.
Yeah.
Remember that whole John Cena debacle thing?
Yeah, exactly. He had to
Well,
step up to the
Taiwan,
fucking
and he was
communist.
like,
Well, that's
yeah.
because that's because they're trying to fucking suck every last ink of fucking milk from the freaking China teat. It's like they're gonna
Red
make
milk.
if they make money from the U.S. and domestically and in Korea and in fucking Europe, that's good enough to make a movie successful. They care so much about China because it's just another extra freaking cash grab that they can get.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's why-
It's a lot of
it's very weird. I don't know. I'm trying to say what to say without offending people, but I feel like many people will carry that movie even without even seeing it. Like I don't want to say like Crazy Rich Asians, or I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but I do agree with Chris when he was saying like, oh, the love for the Mandarin, which is Tony Leung, which is an actor I really love myself. But yeah, damn, it's hard to quote it, but I could see what you mean though.
Yeah, they showed forum posts where they're like, why is he not Shang-Chi? Like he's playing the bad guy. They don't like that.
And I know Shang-Chi is the actor that came from
Kim's Convenience.
Yeah,
I have no faith in him.
which I don't know anything about, but apparently that was like
It's a great show.
that got canceled.
Yeah, no, it was a controversy of how it got canceled. The showrunners just walked off the show. It was never canceled. The showrunner said, we don't want to do it no more, and walked off. And because they own the rights to the show, it's not like, oh, just put someone else in. They can't do that. So that's how it got canceled. But him, he's great, but just in that, I don't like him. I'm sorry.
And also Michelle Yeoh is in that movie as well, right? Correct me?
Yeah, Michelle Yeoh is. Yeah.
So, we're off track right now, boy.
Oh yeah. We're ranting about future stuff.
Yeah, we. I mean, there's nothing else.
There's not much more to say about Loki. You know.
Anything else?
Can I?
I'm not like I said. You know, my only regret is that Dana. I'm sorry. I can't do this anymore. I can't watch this show. So I can't do this podcast. My mental health prevents me from it.
Okay.
Well, so it's too much. This is terrible.
We'll end the show so that Tony doesn't have a mental breakdown.
Yeah, no, you guys will keep going. I just need a replacement for me. You know.
He was ready to
Tony's gonna fall for pain and suffering.
Yeah, no, it's just too much. You know.
Richard.
I just want to say one last thing. Yeah, we will wrap up the show here momentarily. I just have to ask a question because I'm pretty sure that we all was on social media this week. What do you guys think about the Emmy nominations of the Disney Plus shows and the fact that Don Cheadle gets nominated for being on the show for literally less than a minute?
The white
I got some strong comments, but I don't know.
Yeah, Emmy nominations have never made sense.
Yeah.
So
if Judi Dench can get an Oscar for being on screen for 30 seconds, so can Don Cheadle.
Oh, okay. Yep. Okay. Well, that's it. That's all. That's all. Game over.
Game over. It's about time. We got something.
Loki wasn't nominated, right? Was it too early?
It was too early.
It better not get nominated, because if it does, I'm coming back to you, Joe. Wow. You put it out there.
What did I do? We'll fix the timeline, Rich.
Yeah.
All right. So that seems to be everything. Tony, please plug something so you can distract yourself and not kill everyone.
All right. You can find me over on Twitter at Romudeth. You can see down there, ROMUDTH. And you can find me, Chris, and Carlos over on the Throwdown Show every Thursday and Sunday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, talking about them video games. And stay tuned for more. I'll be around. I'll be on some other Koalition podcasts for sure, but Loki season 2, nah, son.
Let's get Lord. You can also follow us at thekoalition.com, where we have plenty of interviews. We have our PowerCast series that's coming up. We have interviews that's already on the YouTube, and we did our spoiler-free review on that. We'll have the spoiler review. We'll post up on Saturday at 1 a.m. or Sunday at 1 a.m. I don't know time zones, but Sunday at 1 a.m. That'll post as well. As for Manny, who's saying, why didn't the old man get one? I don't know, but he deserved one, definitely. He's talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the guy who played Isaiah Bradley.
Oh, Martian Manhunter, hell yeah.
Great point. Yep.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Richard, do some plugs, please.
Yeah. So once again, always a pleasure doing a podcast with everyone on here. As Dana already mentioned, we have a spoiler-free Power Episode 1, Raising Kanan, which is currently on the YouTube and the website. And we will be bringing back PowerCast tomorrow. So the Power fans, definitely look for that. It was a very fun podcast, as always. And yes, we have more things coming this upcoming week to the Koalition, so stay tuned.
Yes, and Polanco Jr.
Just follow me on Twitter, _ Brooklyn Bear, for mostly just memes. Mostly memeing the show and all the stupid
That Ouya, baby.
and Ouya love and Knack 3,
Knack
which is
3,
coming
of course.
soon.
Wonderful.
And the Steam Deck, baby.
Great. And Mr. Seeley?
Oh, like Tony said, you could catch us on Throwdown. We'll be doing Throwdown your questions tomorrow.
Yeah.
Me and the Steam Deck boys.
Yeah. We all got him except Adam. Adam canceled his order.
Adam canceled his order.
Oh, he bailed out.
Wait a second. He's
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
I got mine.
I don't know, bro.
I don't know. I don't know.
Gotta have something.
JJ Romero?
Yeah, you can catch me at Eurocard9 and like Tony and Chris mentioned, Throwdown Show. Make sure to catch us there. And yeah, appreciate you guys having me and the rest of us for doing this show. Obviously, some of us didn't really enjoy the show as much or at all, but this podcast was enjoyable.
Damn right.
Yeah.
And talking to each other every week was one of the good things about this show.
Okay. And Manny get one as well. He doesn't have one.
Yeah, he doesn't
So-
care about
He doesn't
Oh.
care.
deck.
Well, I will be back if for nothing else. I enjoy ranting, so I will subject myself to this because I feel like if it can, I don't know, can it go up from here? Maybe they'll course
It could
correct.
get lower.
Well, we have the other one, the cartoon one that I can't think of. What if?
What if?
This was the high point, bro.
And that has multiple
Oh
seasons
no,
too.
you're right. Yeah, no, he was the high point. Like they're trying to elevate Kang above him by pulling it down. That's why I'm pissed.
Wow.
Don't forget, Dana, don't forget, we got Suicide Squad next month.
Yes, we have Suicide Squad next
I'm
month.
down with that. I'm
I
down
got
with that.
invited to a film festival, so you'll hear me rant about that one. But the reaction so far has been nothing but good. So
Is that HBO Max as well?
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah,
Let's go.
all the Warner Brothers movies this year are simultaneous release on
Yes.
both. Yeah.
Yes, and there's also
And I tried to watch Space Jam.
Jesus. I did.
Yeah,
That was trash.
I got less than halfway in, and we rage quit.
I watched the whole thing. It was a gospel song, just so you can hold on to Jesus to follow through with the rest of the movie. Mhm. Lord. But yes, that is it for us. And with the Loki cast, I have been your host, Dana Abercrombie. And I have been joined by Joey Polanco, Tony Polanco, Richard Bailey Jr., Chris Seeley, Carlos Romero. And we will see you in the future for something.
We'll see you in the multiverse.
See you in the multiverse. So thank you. Have a great day. Morning, noon, night, evening. Thank you for watching us. And Manny hated Space Jam.
Oh, he hated the first one. He said Space Jam 1 was good.
Well, it was for children.
Yeah. All right, people. Later.
Okay.
Deuces.
It won't end. Wait.
It'll never